Let me clear my throat. I am the legendary DJ Kool, and right about now, you're about to get to know me a little bit better than you think you know me, alright?
Oh, what was that? Let me clear my throat. Let's go, y'all. Oh, say what?
All right. We're in the building with the legendary DJ Kool. How you feeling today, my brother?
I'm good, sir. What's up with you?
Everything's good, man.
Yes,
Everything's
sir.
good. Appreciate you coming by to talk to us.
Yes, indeed.
So let's take it back to the beginning, man.
Whoa.
Like back in the days.
Long time ago, yo.
Yeah, tell the people where you're from and a little bit about how it was back in the day.
I'm from Washington, D.C. Southeast to be exact. Went to Randall Junior High School, Eastern High School. So I'm from what they call the old D.C. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That was way before the gentrification. So
Oh,
how
yeah.
were things, before and then after the gentrification process?
How were things before gentrification and after gentrification? More white folks running around.
Right.
Nah, man. They're cleaning a lot of places up. You know what I mean? DC got beat up real bad during the King riots back in '68, like 7th Street corridor, downtown. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that's good about it. Just cleaning up the area. You know what I mean? But you got a lot of people that are coming in here that aren't from here, that don't understand the culture of the city. Go-go music is a part of the culture of our city. And just recently, we had a situation that went down that created this hashtag, Don't Mute DC. And it was all about an incident that happened up in Northwest DC over the music. You know what I mean? So because of gentrification, you have situations like that have occurred. So we're trying to deal with that. As a matter of fact, they're about to pass legislation, or I think they have already passed legislation to make go-go music the official music of DC now. Don't make no sense to me, you know what I mean? Because once again, I'm from the old DC, and that music is a part of the culture and the fabric of the city. But I guess from a legal aspect, maybe, that'll help a lot of things.
Right. Okay, so what initially sparked your interest into the music?
A hip-hop artist or a DJ or...
DJ.
Okay.
DJ first.
A DJ. Arthur Maniac McLeod. He was a DJ from the mid-'70s. Was when I first caught wind of him. And at that time, at least in my eyes, it was Maniac and everybody else. You know what I mean? And I used to see him at a club that I wound up later playing at, a club called The Room, which was on 12th and New York Avenue, Northwest in D.C. And this dude was a total entertainer, man. He was rocking the mic. He was, doing flawless, seamless mixes, all night long, keeping the club jumping all night. And I guess when I first seen him, I was like, that's what I want to be. You know what I mean? And I kind of positioned myself under his wings, so to speak. And that's one of the things that made me to become DJ Kool in the form that you see me in. You know what I mean? Now.
You mentioned some of the schools you attended in D.C. When you were in school, like what kind of student were you? Were you like a good kid, or were you in the principal's office a lot, or like?
When I was in school, I was a decent student. I don't know, maybe C average. You know what I mean? Because I had other things that I was doing. Like I was heavily involved in sports. You know what I mean? And also music. So it's either I'm participating in some sort of sporting event, baseball, basketball, football. I also ran track and everything, and that was from like junior high school. But then, we had the music side, because we'd always be the cats, especially in high school. We'd always be the cats in the hallway, down by the band room, trying to be the Temptations or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Well, harmonizing and all that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
For me, it was always music and sports, and I was all right with the books, you know what I mean? All right, cool.
Understandable. So you mentioned early in your career, your DJ career, that you spun at The Room. Was that your very first gig, or did you have any gigs before that, or was that the first one?
The first club that I actually performed at as a DJ was a place called the Paragon 2. As a matter of fact, let's go back before the Paragon 2. I started out as a mobile DJ, and I was working with a guy named Ashton Greaves. He had a company called The Sound Service, and I got introduced to him by Maniac McCloud, who I spoke about earlier. And so I did the mobile DJ thing with him for about a year. Fast forward, this one particular event, Keith Jefferson came up to me. He was the current DJ at the Paragon 2 at the time. And he's like, man, you good enough to be playing in clubs. I'm getting ready to leave the Paragon. You need to come up here and take my spot. So I went up there. That was 1979. That was my very first club.
Wow, 40-some years ago.
Exactly. So I worked at the Paragon from 1979 to 1982. The Paragon closed in 82. I got a call from Maniac McCloud, and at that time he was still at the Room, and he was kind of telling me the same story that Keith Jefferson told me. Man, I'm getting ready to leave the Room. I'm going to another club. I think he went to the Ibex, which is another club that I wound up working at afterwards. And he said, you need to come down to the Room. That was December 1982. So I came down there, got that position, and I was there from 82 to 86. I worked there 6 nights a week, Tuesday through Thursday and Sunday. I worked there from 9 to 2, and I was the only DJ there. And then Fridays and Saturdays, I played from 9 to 6 in the morning by myself. And I was only making about $50 a night. I'm 21 years old. But hey, $300 a week, it was good. I had enough to buy my records and give my mother a few dollars at the same time. So I'm just doing all right.
Yeah, looking out for mom. Yeah. There you go. You got to do that. So now back in those the beginning days of your DJ career, you have any like janky promoter stories, or like situations where the club owners didn't have your money, or if so, what happened?
Back in the days, I don't have a whole lot of stories like janky promoter stories from when I was, doing all the clubs. All that was fine. It was after that, after I became an artist, after 1986 when Music Ain't Loud Enough came out, and I started going on the road doing these shows. That's when the janky promoter thing started to kick in. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah.
So like, what kind of situations do you have? Any like stories or like particular incidents?
Got a lot of stories, but I'm gonna fast forward to like when Clear My Throat came out. I remember this one particular time we was running that little chitlin circuit thing at the time too. We did some club down in South Carolina, man. This joint had a dirt floor. Picture that. Had a dirt floor. Wow. But we was up in there, you know what I mean? Me and my DJ, shout out to DJ 20. And we doing the show and everything good. So after the show was over, my road manager at the time, Grandmaster Jay, shout out to him, he come up to me talking about cold blue. Like we had, little code words and whatnot that kind of went along with things that was going on at the time. If it was something good, we had a code red, something crazy going on, cold blue. So he come hit me with the cold blue, and I'm looking at him like, the hell is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? He said, cool, cold blue. All right, so we get out the back of the club, and I noticed there was a couple of cats, a lot of these security dudes that was working at the club, they was kind of getting around us like. So Jay was telling me that we need to try and make our way up out of here as fast as we can. It just so happens a car full of women came up. And so basically they wound up creating a diversion. They didn't know that they did, but they did. They created a diversion. And so I took time and, I'm clowning with them. I'm taking pictures with them and this and that. And so I guess old boy and them just got tired and, they dispersed. What was supposed to go down, these cats call themselves rather, trying to rob us for the money that the dude had just paid us. But God was with us that night, and so that didn't happen. So yeah, that's one of the crazy stories that happened on the road.
All right. Ever hear cold blue, we know what's up.
Cold blue, yes. It's time to roll out.
What would you consider your biggest gig? Your biggest DJ gig?
What would I consider?
Or most memorable?
What would I consider one of my most memorable DJ gigs? This is when I was still doing the clubs here in the area. This had to be, I would say, 1988, 87, 88. And I was working at a place called Triples on Sunday nights. Mike Tyson came to the club. Never forget that. They brought him through the office, and the DJ booth was connected to the manager's office. So they bring him in, and I was getting ready to get on the mic and tell everybody that he was in the building and this and that. And he was like, no, don't say nothing. So he kept it quiet for a minute. But there's one thing I remember about this cat. First and foremost, he was as cool as anybody could be. I was very, very pleased to meet him. I shook his hand, and I think I got a pretty good handshake for a man, you know, my size. This dude, hands is like this big. You know, it might be even
like 2 hands,
like 3 or 4 hands. His hand felt like a baseball glove, yo. It was crazy. His fingers like this big around. Shook my hand. I was like, yo, Mike, I need that hand to DJ with, bro. I need, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, I would hate to be the cat to get hit by this dude. Now I can kind of sort of feel how it is to be hit by Mike Tyson, because he just shook my hand and I almost passed out.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Good people, though.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit to your career as an artist.
Okay.
So, first of all, when did you decide you wanted to make records, and what was the motivating factor behind that part of it?
I decided that I wanted to be an artist probably in the early to mid 80s. And for me, I always wanted to use DJing as a stepping stone to becoming an artist anyway. So I was at a club. I was just leaving the room. I think I was working at the Classics at the time, which was around 86. I used to do a thing out there on Monday nights. There was a guy named Deke DeBerry. May he rest in peace. He was an independent record promoter. And back in the days, we used to have these cats that would come around that, you know, they would work for all these different labels, and they would come to the clubs with a bunch of records for all the DJs to play. So, you know, I used to see Deke at all the clubs, you know, from time to time. And one night he stepped to me and he was like, man, you ever thought about, you know, working in the studio, making records, you know, becoming an artist or anything like that? So I told him, just like I said a moment ago, yeah, you know, this is the reason why I became a DJ, because I wanted to use this as a stepping stone to becoming an artist. So he invited me in the studio, and we did a mix on a group that he had at the time called 0 Hour. So while we were doing the mix, he asked me, did I want to come in and work on my own project? And I was like, yeah, I was real excited. So went home that night, and I had a dream. Believe it or not, I had a dream, you know what I mean? And I dreamt up the song, The Music Ain't Loud Enough. I dreamt up every sample, every lyric. And so I came in the very next day. We went to the studio. There was a guy named Stephen Franco that owned the studio in Eastover Shopping Center. It was in Discount Mart for all you DC people. They're from the old DC. Remember Discount Mart. And the engineer at the time was a guy named Wizard. So I brought my handful of records up there. We sampled all the records. We used the old Emax. No, I'm sorry, it was the emulator sampler, which is by Ensoniq. Probably their first sampler. And we chopped up all these records. I got a kick from one record, a snare from another one. I took the loop that I used, the go-go loop that I used for Music Ain't Loud Enough, was from an EU record called Cabbage Patch. Shout out to Sugar Band EU, and thank y'all for that. You know what I'm saying?
So what were some of the recordings that followed Music Ain't Loud Enough?
Some of the recordings that followed Music Ain't Loud Enough were How Low Can You Go, What the Hell You Come In Here For, Reggae Dance, I Can Make You Dance, Pressed Against the Glass, 20-minute Workout, I Got That Feeling, obviously Let Me Clear My Throat. And see, all of these were from 1986 all the way up to Clear My Throat, 1996. And all of these records hit the Billboard chart somewhere in the top 100, with Let Me Clear My Throat being the one with the highest chart position. I think we went top 40 or so, top 20 or something like that. Might have been even higher than that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were talking about Let Me Clear My Throat, which came out in 96.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's still being played regularly
Thank
20
God.
plus years later.
Thank God for that.
And, you know, the video with the remix, you had the hip-hop legends Dougie Fresh and Biz Markie.
Yes.
How did that collaboration come about?
The collaboration for my remix video for Let Me Clear My Throat came about because, wow, I've been knowing Dougie since 87. I've been knowing Biz since 87, 88. And so they're like family, you know what I mean? And so when it was time to do this remix, I was like, I can't think of anybody else that would have been better, you know what I mean, that would have been a better fit for that particular song than those two cats, because they're just like me. Like, they do party music, you know what I mean? And even though Dougie and Biz, you know what I'm saying, they have a slightly different approach than I do, but I knew that I know that I can use them because I know that they would fit perfectly into, you know, the thought that I had. And the crazy thing is, none of that was written. None of it was. Those were freestyles. Believe it or not. I told Dougie, I said, look, I need 8 bars. I'm going to lead you in and I'm going to lead you out. I told Biz the same thing. All I need is 8 bars. And they did it. There's a part in the song where Dougie does this Tupac tribute. Once again, just right off the top. That's just Dougie being Dougie. You know what I mean?
Tupac.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's just Dougie being Dougie, and I just roll with him. And once again, that's because we've been working together for so long. You know what I mean? Nothing is rehearsed. We just do it.
So, okay, now you're one of the few hip-hop artists that was able to transform live recordings to wax with the DC Go-Go style call and response. Tell us a little bit about how that process works.
A lot of people probably know that I'm probably the only guy that's running around here recording live. Well, I guess I got that from my go-go music background. I got the idea for doing that from Trouble Funk. Shout out to Big Tony and rest in peace to Dyke, you know what I mean, from Trouble Funk. So I got the whole idea of recording live records from just listening to Trouble Funk records. But what I wanted to do was to make sure that I was recording them like live, right on the set or right on the scene live. Like, for an example, the very first live recording was 20-minute workout. I recorded that live at a club called Ivory. Shout out to Steve Branch and all them people down there in Richmond, Virginia. I was cutting Dougie Fresh. I'm getting ready back and forth on the turntables while I got a mic in front of me and going back and forth with the crowd. I had crowd mics hung up in the ceilings. Shout out to my man Vincent. He was the live recording engineer for that.
Shout out to Vince.
Yes, indeed. So we did that, and we did those records. All of them are done in one take. We did I Got That Feeling live in Baltimore. Shout out to Frank Ski. We did that at Hammerjacks. Let Me Clear My Throat was done live in Philly at a place called Bahama Bay. And basically what you heard that night was just someone recording our actual live performance. And that's why we're able to do these things in one take. And the reason why I wanted to do them in one take is because I wanted to catch the energy of the crowd at its highest point, you know what I mean? As opposed to if you're doing something in the studio, you know, you have to do multiple takes, you know what I mean? But when you do these live things, you only got one time to get it right. Yeah. And so, you know, I was kind of able to master that. But yeah, that all comes out of my go-go background, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely a genius idea, doing it like that, yeah. Because like I said, I really don't even know anybody else that's really done anything like that as far as, you know, recording a live crowd, as far as hip-hop artists.
Yes, the only other live recording that I can remember was a Run DMC live at the Funhouse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But other than that, nobody else has attempted to do any of the live recordings. Fat Man Scoop followed me doing Be Faithful, but he just used a different process. Right. You know, shout out to a Brooklyn Clan as well.
So with the success of Let Me Clear My Throat, obviously you started doing a lot of shows in relation to the song blowing up. You start getting a lot of calls for gigs and shows all around the nation and all around the world, actually. what are some of the craziest experiences that you recall while performing on the road?
Some of the craziest experiences that I had on the road, I don't know, to be honest with you, I can't remember a lot of crazy stuff. You really need my DJ, who was running with me at the time. Shout out to DJ 20.
Okay.
That's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy that can tell you about all the crazy experiences. Oh, well, no, I don't want to get into that one because somebody could get locked up. So
you got some legal ramifications behind that one.
I will tell you, probably one of the most exciting things that happened to me, and this was within the last few years, since, Clear My Throat been out or what have you. Shout out to DJ Khaled, first and foremost. You know what I mean? I've been knowing him a little over 20 years now, believe it or not. He called me one day, to me, it seemed to be up out of the blue, asking me to come and rock with him to open for Beyoncé at M&T Bank Stadium. So we get to the stadium, and we're going down the hallway, and I see this crowd of people coming towards me, and I looked up, and I was like, this person looks familiar to me. The closer I got, I said, okay, that's a woman, and I know damn well that ain't who I think that is. It was Michelle Obama. I'm like, what? So, next thing you know, I'm standing right in front of her. And at the time, I couldn't even see who else was with her because I was so focused on her. And so, I'd never met a public official or anything like that. So, the only thing I knew I just bowed down. I bowed down to her. And I said, excuse me, Miss First Lady, or something to that effect. I says, if I may, could I introduce myself to you, or once again? Right now, I'm all over the place just thinking about it. But so I introduced myself to her, and I told her what song that I'm most known for. She looked at me and started smiling, and she bowed down back to me, and she said, DJ Kool, of course I know who you are. Wow. And I love Let Me Clear My Throat. She started humming it and everything back to me, and I'm like, okay, now I'm just sitting up here going crazy. I don't care nothing about what I'm about to go do now. I just sat up here and had a conversation with Michelle Obama, and she recognized me. So to me, like, that was probably one of the biggest moments of my career. Now, mind you, both of her daughters were standing next to her. I didn't see them. All her daughter's friends were right there with her. I didn't see none of them. There was some Secret Service cats there. I didn't see none of those cats. All I could see was her. Amazing. Shout out to Michelle Obama.
So obviously Barack wasn't with him, right?
No, I wish he was.
So now over the years, you've had a lot of affiliations with some, hip-hop legends, like we talked about Dougie Fresh, Biz Markie, but you also were cool with Public Enemy, Afrika Bambaataa from Zulu Nation, Luke down in Miami. How did all these, relationships develop? And you have any stories about those guys?
All of the people that you mentioned, for the most part, like, those relationships just developed from just being on the road. You know what I mean? And I guess just us kind of respecting, each other's craft. You know what I mean? And us just being fans of each other's music. Me and Redman, I met him on the road. I met him in 1994. I think I don't even remember where we were, but I do remember he was high as a kite. He couldn't hardly talk to me, but I couldn't understand what he was saying. He talked about he wanted to do 20-minute workout over with me again. And we never made that happen, but let's fast forward to 2001. We did get together on a song that was produced by Rockwilder called Let's Get Dirty. And I'll never forget that. I got a phone call from him one day, and I thought somebody was playing on the phone, and he was like, nah, man, it's Funk Doc, such. I want to bring you out to LA because I want you to get on this song that me and Rockwilder were working on. So I get out there, and they brought me to Westlake Studios, which is a legendary studio in LA. People like Michael Jackson and all of these folks record at Westlake. So I tell him to press play. I heard the track was crazy. So he said, listen, he said, every time you hear me say, let's get dirty, I want you to say something, you know, before and after every time you hear me say, let's get dirty. So picked up my pen, wrote the hook, went in the booth, laid it down. Eric Sermon was there too. Shout out to E. Sermon. So we listened back to the track, and they was like, yeah, that's hot, that's hot. I was like, nah, that's warm. I know why y'all got me here. They wanted to get that call and response thing out of me, you know what I'm saying, that I do. So I rewrote the hook, and next thing you know, this Let's Get Dirty thing came out, and we hit the road. And I've been running with Doc from 2001, and we're still in contact with one another today. I'm his uncle. I'm his Uncle Kool. You know what I mean? So,
all right.
Yep, that's my nephew right there. Shout out to Funk Doc.
Yeah, Redman.
Yes.
He makes me laugh because he says white people call him Redman.
Yes.
You see that video? Slap this.
Yes. We were talking about that. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. He's incredible.
That one had me crying when I saw that one. I had to watch that over and over and over. That was funny. On a more serious note, we had mentioned Bambaataa, right? So what was your reaction to the whole situation that went down with him?
The stuff that went down with Afrika Bambaataa was, I guess, surprising to me because I really don't know that brother like that. You know what I mean? I've never really sat down and had any real conversations with Bambaataa. Once again, he's one of these people that I've met, during my time on the road. He did bring me into Zulu Nation, DC chapter back in the day, but that was pretty much the extent of that whole, relationship between me and Bambaataa. I can't say I really know him like that. So when they were talking about all these allegations and, this and that, I was like, well, alrighty then. There you go.
So now you also have been one of the few artists that were able to work with the late, great DC go-go legend, Chuck Brown. R.I.P. to Chuck Brown.
Yes.
How was that experience recording a song with the Godfather and the King of Go-Go?
Recording with Chuck Brown, first of all, knowing Chuck Brown, getting the chance to have conversations with Chuck Brown was just incredible for me. He was like a father figure more than anything. I mean, when I first seen Chuck Brown was probably when Bustin' Loose came out, probably like mid-70s or so. And, but when I actually got a chance to really work with him as far as, recording with him and then performing with him, one of the most incredible things that I've ever done. And, Chuck used to kill me. He used to always say, DJ Kool, you the best DJ I know, man. You are my favorite DJ. And so, I miss Chuck, man. He was one of the only people that called me when my mother passed, like in 01. He called me and gave me his condolences and so on and so forth. And Chuck was just an amazing person, man. Yeah, he will always, always, always be missed, like for real.
Yeah, it seems like he was a good guy. I met him a couple times too. And he always seemed like he was real, nice and down to earth and real cool with everybody.
Yes.
Rest in peace to Chuck Brown. So let's talk about one of your crazier experiences in recording is when you hooked up with the Macho Man, Randy Savage, the wrestler.
Yeah.
And you guys did a song called Hit the Floor. How was that whole experience?
Me getting a chance to record with Randy Macho Man Savage, first of all, he just happened to be my favorite wrestler during that era, believe it or not. And so when you gave me the call, I didn't believe you. I thought you was playing on the phone. But then when I finally got down there to Tampa, shout out to the people at Big 3 Studios, and we actually got a chance to record. I'm like, man, this is crazy right here. And just to meet him was incredible for me, but really getting a chance to hang out with him and just have a lot of personal time. Like, we flew around in private jets and whatnot, you know what I'm saying, doing a little promo tour when we was pushing Hit the Floor. Incredible. That was one of the most incredible times in my career. Meeting one of my wrestling heroes. You know what I mean?
Do you have a good Macho Man Randy Savage impression?
Ooh yeah, DJ Kool. That Hulk Hogan, he's the worst kind. I really don't. He was not a big fan of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, at the time.
I mean, yeah, at the time. You know what I mean? They had their little.
They had their differences. Later, they reconciled. You know, so that was good.
Yes.
Before he passed. R.I.P. to Macho Man.
Yes.
You know, moving up a little bit. You were recently inducted into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame Museum here in D.C.
Yes.
Along with Scarface from the Ghetto Boys.
Mm-hmm.
How was that, and what did that mean to you?
Me being inducted to the Hip Hop Hall of Fame was, oh my God, I'm almost at a loss of words as to like how that really made me feel. You know what I mean? Shout out to Dave Mays. You know what I mean? From Source Magazine. It made me feel that up to this point, my career hasn't been in vain. I guess because of the lack of marketing and promotion that has been done on my part. It's been kind of strange for me as an artist having records that are bigger than me. But for something like that to happen just kind of lets me know that once again all my work has not been in vain, and somebody has been paying attention to what I've been doing all of these years, and just to be appreciated for your work. You know what I mean? And then being able to have it happen right here at home in DC in front of my peers. That was just an amazing time in my career and in my life, period. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. I mean, it's a hell of a feat, man, and congratulations on that again.
Thank you.
And I know you got a lot more accolades coming your way, you know, before you're done with all this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to continue putting the work in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that always play like I'm 10 points behind.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm going to continue to work like that.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it. A good way to go about it. So this weekend is NBA All-Star Weekend.
Yes.
And over the past few weeks, obviously with the unfortunate passing of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and all the other people that were on the helicopter that passed, R.I.P. You know, there's been a lot of talk in the media, especially with the Gayle King and the Snoop situation that followed. What were your thoughts on Snoop's, response to the interview that she did with Lisa Leslie?
My thoughts on Snoop's response to what Gayle King said in the interview. To tell you the truth, I feel the exact same way that he does. And I'm just not going to pull no cut cards at this time because that was ridiculous. No respect for this man's family and friends, in their time of mourning and grieving right now. That's just crazy. Of all the millions and millions of questions that you could have, asked, you wanted to ask that one. And for me, my take on something like that is, it's like if that man's wife could forgive him, then I think, it should be good, first and foremost. And now, he's gone. All these years that he was alive, you know what I'm saying? And you just now waiting to say something like that? Now, you're hearing all types of stuff talking about, well, it was the way that the interview had been edited and all that kind of stuff and this, that, and the third. Well, my thing is this. I don't care how they chop the damn interview up. The question shouldn't have been asked, period. That's just how I feel about it. And I don't have to apologize because I don't know you. But I will say, I give props to Snoop for handling it the way that he did afterwards, because he didn't have to, but he did, so he showed some class, you know what I mean? And he showed that he's a high character guy at the end of the day, no matter what a lot of people might think of Snoop, you know what I mean? I know this dude personally. Matter of fact, he's one of my brothers, you know what I mean? And so, big ups to Snoop for the way that he handled everything. It ain't like he was punking out or anything like that. He just said, man, you know what? I'm bigger than that. I was raised better than this. You know what I mean? I was just caught up in the emotion. She was talking about my brother. You know what I'm saying? My brother just died. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
And that's an understandable emotion,
Yes.
you know, especially with
Yes.
him being in LA and going to all the games
Yes.
and knowing Kobe and his daughters personally and the family and his wife and everything. So, yeah, that was definitely understandable in that situation. Well, DJ Kool, we appreciate you sitting down with us today.
Yes.
And any projects you want to throw out there that you're working on, socials, anything like that? Want to leave with the people?
Yes, I do have a brand new project right now, a new single called Cha Cha Cha. Yes. And
It's hot. It's hot.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. People are deeming this to be a line dance record, so that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm actually just now finding out how big and how powerful the actual line dance community is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's about to come out like any day now. We're working on a situation right now. We, meaning myself and my management team, Walt Reader Jr., Big Block Entertainment.
Shout out to Big Block.
Yes, yes indeed. And so we're working a few different deals that we're looking at right now, so we can really get it out there. I can be reached as far as my social media is concerned at legendary_DJ_Kool. Once again, Instagram at legendary_DJ_Kool, and my Kool is spelled with a K. All right.
All right, cool. Well, we thank you for stopping through, and we wish you the best with all your future endeavors, my brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Here we go now. To the right one time.